my sweet friends, welcome back. I hope you are all doing well. In last week's video, we created a traveler's notebook style folio and we added pockets to hold the inserts instead of punching holes and using elastic. And during that tutorial, I suggested we could create a version of that, but made to be used as a scrapbook. And so many peeps reach out to me asking me to do this. So of course, we're gonna make that today. I'm gonna use the measurements in the process from the previous video for the cover. So I'll link that in the description with a timestamp so we don't have to go over that portion again. We can get started directly on the alternate inserts. Let me just show you real quick how sweet this little folio is. So when you open it, it's going to have these folded inserts with the pattern paper and our tip-ins, and we're going to have loads of room for pictures and journaling. So this is going to make a sweet little scrapbook, and it is super fun and easy to make. So if that sounds good to you, then stick with me and we'll make it together. I'm using the blue spring on Woodgrain printable from my shop, along with papers from my stash. I think this is a beautiful palette of blues and yellows. So if you are interested in this printable, I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check it out. We've already got our cover created, so we can jump right into finishing this folio. Now I've got my pattern paper here and we're going to add a pocket. Remember in the last video I shared that this would be an option for people who didn't want to punch holes and use elastic. So we're going to have some side pockets that will hold our inserts, and we're going to start with our cardstock measurement of 5 7/8 by 4 3/8, and the pattern paper is 5 3/4 by 4 1/4. And I just picked the patterns that I thought went well with my project. Now, the next thing I want to do is add that pocket. And so I have a layering pattern here. It's cut to be 7 high by 3 wide. I flipped that over and I scored it at 2.5. So that's going to be the depth of our pocket. So I'm just going to place this right along the top of my scoreboard, and then I'll add my page here. Now I'm going to line this up so that I will have a full score line on one side, the full groove. I'll go ahead and score that, and then I'll slide that down very carefully with all of these layers together until there's another full line on this side, and then I'll score that one as well. Then I'll come in and clip off that corner right between where those score lines intersect. That is going to reduce the amount of bulk behind that pocket. I'll line that up on the back of my pocket and just pre-fold those score lines. And you can see I have added some double-sided adhesive tape here. And so I'll just remove the backing and fold that over and adhere the flaps to that double-sided tape. Now you do want to come in and add some additional tape here, and while we're at it, we are also going to be adding some of that Tombow for our 2-glue combo. Then this pocket will be added to the cover, and I am positioning the opening for that pocket to go inward. So when we add things to it, it will contain those inserts so they won't fall out. So let's put one on this side. You can imagine how nice and thick and sturdy this is getting with all of those layers of paper. Want to go ahead and finish the back while we're at it, because this is easier to do while we can get that flat. And of course, all of our full-size pages are going to be the same, so you just need one set of measurements for those. So here we have our pockets added and the back. Now we want to include some inserts. I had every intention of creating a similar style as we made last week that were folded and stapled, but once I got to finishing this, I really wanted to have more opportunities to add that pattern paper and to have more room for finishing details. That's really the fun part, is adding your pictures and memories. So I decided to change that up just a little bit, but it's still going to be really simple. And so we're going to go to our 65-pound weight cardstock for this insert, and it's going to be 5.5 inches high by 8.5 inches wide and scored at 4 1/4. I have 2 of these, and my plan is to adhere these so that one side will open toward the right and one side will open toward the left, and you'll see why that is in a moment. So of course we need our 2 glue combo for this layer. And because I have one fold over here, I'm going to add this one to this side. Bring those corners together. Keep it nice and straight and even. And make sure that you've got a good contact so that this insert will be very sturdy. And so we're going to have our insert that will open this way and then also this one. And the reason for that is because I want to be able to tuck these into this insert with the minimal amount of bulk going into that pocket. So I want to just make sure that I have these in the right order. See, now I have this back page finished. So it will actually be for this, keeping this open for our tip-in, because we do want to add more of those pretty pictures. So now I know that this is going to have to go in this direction. We can begin to add the pattern papers for this. So the cardstock measurement for this is going to be 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, and the pattern paper is 5 1/4 by 4. And so I'm just going to finish the back with this companion pattern, and I think the yellow stripe works really well with that printable. Now when we get to this portion, we know it's going to go into the pocket this way, so we're going to add our remaining flower pattern. So it looks like it's going in the right direction. This is a fairly directional floral, which is pretty easy to tell because the stems are mostly going down. So let's go ahead and finish off all of these inside pages with that pretty floral. It's just perfect for spring. Then I mentioned too that these are single-sided papers, so it will add less bulk on the inside, but I think there's still plenty of room if you have your heart set on a double-sided collection paper that's a little bit thicker. Just make sure that you've got all of your pretty cardstock borders as well as the cover. So let's just finish this off now. And remember that it's going to go into that pocket this way. So here is what will be the front cover that will show, and I do have more of that pretty yellow stripe. So now I know that this is going to go on the left, so I can include a tip-in for this side, and this is just another one of the those images from the printable. I always just add 1/8 of an inch to the measurement right and left and top and bottom, and then also an additional 1/2 inch that can be tucked around. So it doesn't matter what you're adding as a tip-in, just have a little bit of extra built in for that border. And so I'll just bring those together and adhere this scored piece onto the back, and then add that to the front of our folded insert. So now that will go on this side. I want to have another tip-in for this side. So we'll use that same process. This is a really nice place to add some journaling if you want to add the details that go with your pictures, because you can just tuck that in behind that image and keep that all together. So now we have our insert ready for this side. Let's go ahead and fold this up now and see just how nicely that fills in that space. You see, this is going to be so nice and chunky and thick. So now is the time we want to add a little bit of trim here. And this is just a diamond stitched satin from Really Reasonable Ribbon. Tack that on with a little hot glue. I've got that same pattern planned for the front cover so that it will all coordinate nicely. Then I did have a layering pattern cut to utilize our cardstock that we already have layered on there. Got a doily die cut from crisp white paper. Here's the image that I selected for the cover. I added that to thick cardstock, cut it back out, added some foam spacers, and used a generous amount of stickles there to bring out the details. I just want to make sure that I get that on straight as possible. I've created a small floral arrangement with the blue magnolias from Really Reasonable Ribbon, some die cut foliage, netting, loopy twine bows, and then I've also included some stamped and colored leaves. Kind of makes it look a little bit like ephemera, just so that it could brighten up the cover. Here you see how my flowers and my trims sort of blended together, so I wanted to kind of freshen that up a little bit, and so I think that is a fun combination. I've added a little bit more of the trim from the ribbon closure so that it will fill out that arrangement and help to anchor the corner. We do want to add that with hot glue. We've got some little bird charms to go with our birdhouse, and then remove the excess string, topped with a button. I also want to include some pretty sequins to balance those charms. I'll put one on the raised section and then a couple down onto that doily. Of course, I'm going to use my Tombow to adhere those sequins. And then I can just go ahead and tie this up, and I'll also clip the ends of the trim when I know how long I need it to be, and I'll do that at an angle so they won't fray. So that is going to be it for our project today. If you enjoyed this tutorial, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. And remember, you can find links for the products I mentioned as well as our socials in the description below. As always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day, and I thank you so much for watching. Bye.